that the Republican Party and Donald Trump have had an agenda, not only through cutting off clinics, funding to clinics across the country, attacks on IVF, not only with their online agenda, like Tim Pool here, who was funded by the Russians, let's not forget.
Tim Pool is about to absolutely destroy this woke feminist live on Piers Morgan show. Let's watch her getting destroyed.
Sway young male voters into being radicalized through disinformation campaigns. This is all out there at this point. Part of the gender divide here right now is because folks like Tim Pool and others who once said they were Bernie Sanders supporters, who I worked for, were suddenly pulling people away and pulling young men away and radicalizing them. So I think we have a problem with young men right now, and that they don't respect women, as you're seeing with Vinny. They don't respect facts. They don't read newspapers. They don't understand polls. They don't understand misogyny. They don't understand people of color. And they don't understand that immigration bill was blocked.
And you know what,
Namiki, Donald Trump and his Republicans.
Namiki, I'll come to Tim for a response, but Namiki, what you may not understand is it's precisely that attitude towards younger men that is driving them to Donald Trump. And I think the election in the end will not be won with women, it will be won with men. And interestingly, increasing numbers of Black American men and Latino American men. So Tim Pool,
can I just challenge that for a second?
You can challenge it.
Men don't turn out at the same rates as women. It's really important. Women have a higher rate of turnout, they're more reliable voters, and young women are more left than they've ever been because of a lot of the online hate that they're seeing. So while Tim Pool might not like this, the majority of men actually do respect women and do like to talk to them. And I think, is there misogyny? Sure.
Why would Tim Pool not like people to respect women?
Bro, this woman just proved the point made by Piers Morgan. I mean, first of all, here's a feminist guest who somehow manages to fit the words Republicans, Russia, and radicalized men into the same sentence. She is already off to the races, and within 10 seconds, she accuses Tim Pool of being funded by the Russians. No proof, no citation, just boom, allegation dropped like it's 2016 again. It's always the same playbook. If you can't debate the idea, you attack the person. Apparently, if men stop nodding along to her politics, they're radicalized. And the way she said more young women are left than before, well, she is basically avoiding the point that Piers Morgan made, then Black men and white Latino men are turning towards Trump. That's because they are being treated right by this kind of woman. And I love how she talks about young men not respecting women while interrupting every man on the panel and calling out Tim Pool like she's on a one-woman filibuster. Respect isn't gendered, it's earned.
What did I say to this lady?
I watched his commentary in response to the Kamala. This lady, I have a name, Tim. I've called you your name. You can call me my name. My name's Nomiki Konst. I'm well known. I'm on the internet. You've commented about me before as this lady. So, Tim, I saw your commentary about the manliness ad, and you said that wasn't manly. I don't think that men should be looking to other men to see what's manly. I mean, most heterosexual men want to persuade women because it's part of their, it's how they live, right? Tim Pool, I'm just questioning why you're defining masculinity and women aren't, because we're the ones.
Well, it's interesting that you think you should be able to define masculinity, but he can't. Tim Pool, your response?
I don't know why this lady keeps saying my name. I didn't say anything to her. I think I started this off by saying I agree with the left position that there is an inherent sexism problem in this country. That actually I'm hearing this from some of the reporters that we have on the street, that there are young men, when asked why they wouldn't support Kamala Harris, they give no reason other than she's just a woman. So I certainly understand why the Harris campaign, Tim Walz and Harris, and their supporters are making videos trying to tell men, here's how you can be masculine. So in particular, there's a couple ads. There's the white dude for Harris ad, and then there was another one that was put out, I believe it was by supporters, not the campaign officially, and a Tim Walz ad that were similar. And they're doing these things where they say like, I can fix a carburetor and I'm not scared of women. These things don't say anything to men. Now, we believe, I should say the commentary we had on this is that they were female-coded advertisements likely written by women for men. I think if you look at the trends that guys follow in terms of media, they're looking at action movies. It's rather stereotypical, but there is a lowest common denominator here. So I don't think you are convincing men to vote for women by making commercials where you say, here's how men should act. I don't think you need those arguments for men. I think if there's a struggle with men, I wonder if the issue is not that it's a point of convincing these men, but that you actually just have guys who are sexist. And how you overcome that's a challenge I don't quite know. But I think when we criticize and mock, say, a cringe commercial, it's because it's certainly not the way to do it.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Well, it depends on who you're trying to target. I mean, if you're trying to target Tim Pool viewers, yeah, probably not. I mean, the far right, I don't think Kamala Harris or any Democrat was ever going to win over.
Bro! I mean, at this point, she is simply trying to take every single point back to Tim Pool. Now she starts correcting Tim on what masculinity is. Here's the thing. When men talk about masculinity, it's not about control. It's about identity. But when women like her talk about it, it becomes a political instrument. They don't want to understand what men feel. They want to redefine it into something politically safe. And then they wonder why guys are frustrated, why they check out of politics, why they move toward independent thinkers like Tim. Then she keeps repeating his name, Tim Pool, Tim Pool, Tim Pool. At some point, it stopped sounding like criticism and started sounding like an obsession. Even Piers had to look over like, are you okay? And you know what? Viewers see through it. It's why more men, including Black and Latino voters, are shifting away from the left because they're tired of being told their opinions are misogyny every time they speak.
What do you mean a Tim Pool viewer?
Well, I mean, you have an audience, and the audience is far right, and over
somebody who thinks
90% male.
So you're saying that you think my audience that agrees with me that there's inherent sexism in this country and racism, and that creates a barrier for Kamala Harris, those are the viewers you're talking about?
No, I'm saying that the folks who listen to your show are not, they are not the target audience of these ads. There are plenty of men out there who may not have really understood when they kept asking things like, where's Kamala Harris's plan, even though she's said it over and over and over again on the campaign trail. They're using excuses and not understanding that the underlying issue there might be misogyny.
Hang on. Kamala Harris, with the best will in the world, she doesn't have a big plan for what she's going to do. She never thought she'd have to have one. She gets parachuted in this weird coronation, a completely undemocratic process, by the way, which I don't think served her or the Democrats very well, and I suspect will come back and haunt them at the election. But the truth is that Kamala Harris doesn't seem to have a proper plan. Her plan is to hammer Trump, and that's fine. But I don't think that, unlike in 2020, when Biden hid in the basement and did that quite successfully, I don't think just being anti-Trump is enough. Americans are looking for a much bigger picture. Now, I want to bring in Vajrayev because hang on.
Calm down, girl. You need to learn to let men speak and respect them too. When Piers steps in and says Kamala doesn't even have a real plan, she instantly melts down. You can see it. She goes from debate mode to damage control because when the emotion runs out, there's no logic to fall back on. It's all noise. And this is the tragedy of modern discourse. People like her don't debate ideas, they debate identities. They can't accept that disagreement isn't hatred. And that's why men are walking away, not from women, but from this weaponized version of feminism that sees every man as an oppressor and every opposing view as evil. You don't win hearts by screaming, you don't convince people by labeling them, and you don't lose men to radicalization, you push them there by refusing to respect them. Look, I don't care if you love or hate Tim Pool, but this debate was a mirror. It showed exactly why politics feels broken. One side is trying to have a conversation, and the other side is trying to have a crusade. And crusades always end the same way, with the crowd walking away. If you made it this far, don't forget, real discussions aren't won by shouting, they're won by clarity. Hit subscribe because we're not just talking about headlines here, we're talking about what's actually breaking people apart and how to see through it.